wanted to talk about this. I wanted to get Daniel on this as well. Let's do this incredible story from Mexico that Bloomberg's reporting, that AMLO has indicated that he's willing to help Venezuela with fuel subsidies. I'll quote briefly here. Mexican President Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador, just scroll down a bit. Thank you. Said Monday that he's willing to sell gasoline to Venezuela as a humanitarian gesture despite U.S. sanctions against the South American country. If they requested it and it was a humanitarian necessity, we would do it, Lopez Obrador said, replied to a question, adding that Venezuela hasn't asked Mexico for aid at the moment. No one has the right to oppress others. Venezuela is facing crippling gasoline shortages after years of mismanagement of production and refining infrastructure. That is a very interesting way of leading off that explanation.
Yeah, that's
not to say that the Venezuelan government has not made mistakes, but the most crippling, outside of Iran, arguably the most crippling sanctions regime in the world, from the world's preeminent superpower, and endless, seemingly almost week by week attempts at coups and other violent interference may have something to deal with it. I just want your guys' thoughts. I'll start with you, Danny, and just also, in the context of, I see it very clearly in the centrist media. All of a sudden, there's these ludicrous comparisons between Bolsonaro and AMLO. Again, it's not, whatever. AMLO is like any other political leader, not perfect, but I think, especially, we don't even, we could just talk about the coup in Bolivia. Anytime you start getting into this maximalist, moralistic discourse about a leader in South America who's doing something for poor people, doing something for working people, and now continually showing that he's willing to subvert U.S. aggression, I think we got to be very careful of the propaganda you're going to see against him.
Yeah, it's nice to hear. Of course, as people listening probably know, there's centuries-long tradition going back to the founding of the independent republics in the early 19th century of trans-Latin American solidarity, right? And so this is, again, a trend that rises and falls over the course of the 19th and 20th centuries, reaching a height in the rise of the non-aligned movement in the 50s and the 60s, and the rise of the new international economic order and the new world information order. And of course, the pink tide, there were discussions about trans-Latin American solidarity. So I think it's what it seems like is AMLO, if I had to guess, is given his own personal history, sort of reaching back into that really nice internationalist, transnational Latin American tradition, where essentially the countries of the continent have, and Central and South America have, and the Caribbean too, have come together to attempt to form a power bloc against essentially the United States. That's succeeded and failed to a greater or lesser degree at various moments, but it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world if AMLO was serious behind this and made the important statement, particularly within the Western Hemisphere itself, that one could defy the United States and begin trading with Venezuela. I think, as with most sanctions, it's ordinary Venezuelans, just like ordinary Iranians, are the ones who are getting hurt. And so it'd be nice if AMLO, keeps this rhetoric up and puts some real muscle behind it.
I would just add that, it's been pretty amazing to see the concern with which, writers at the Financial Times and Wall Street Journal and Bloomberg have paid to the poor in Mexico over the past couple of weeks. And then you start to see, the reality of how the media pressure plays its role. When you recognize that, people are pissed at AMLO because he's not willing to put the country further into debt, to international creditors. And I'm not even trying to make a prescription necessarily about what AMLO needs to do specifically with the coronavirus case, but just sort of trying to understand it from the United States financial community, why they're so pissed. As we're watching Argentina right now struggle for the right to be able to practice democracy within their own nation, basically harass AMLO over his, financial plans with the international finance community. And two, I think you're absolutely right to highlight this and how brave it is for AMLO to stand with Venezuela at a time when that is obviously not the easiest thing to do. It would be exceptional even without the coronavirus pandemic going on in the background, but especially so with it.
Absolutely. Daniel Bessner, thanks a million, brother. Appreciate your
Thanks for
time.
having me.
Stay
Yeah,
safe,
always.
stay strong. Talk to you soon.
See you around.
Bye, guys.
See you around.
See you, Daniel.
You just watched a Michael Brooks show video. Subscribe to get them all. Why wouldn't you? Don't be foolish. Click subscribe below and become a patron as well. Patreon.com/TMBS. Thanks, everybody.